Okay, so today we're going to talk about soil formation, and our focus question is, how does the formation of soil relate to the processes of weathering and erosion, and what is the composition and importance of soil? So let's start with talking about what is soil. So it's a mixture of rock, mineral particles, and organic matter. And it's formed from weathering, as weathering forms the rock and soil particles in the soil because it breaks down the rock and causes these particles to be the smaller pieces of sediment. So there's some inorganic components of soil that we need to be aware of, and those are the water within soil, the rock, as well as the air. And remember that when we say inorganic, we mean that there is no carbon and none of the components that this is created from were living at any point in time. The organic components of soil are the one that we talk about the most is a material called humus. And this is not the same as the hummus that we dip carrots in our pretzels or eat. Humus comes from decaying plants and animals. So living things such as bacteria and fungi, they break down plant and animal remains to form this humus. So we have these decomposers, this bacteria and fungi, and these break down all of these decaying remains, and this forms the humus, and the humus is what actually makes the soil fertile. And remember that when we talk about an organic domain, we are talking about one that is ruled by carbon, because these were all things that were living at some point in time. So when we talk about soil, we talk about these things called horizons, because soil is layered into these different horizons. And it takes thousands of years for soil to mature. And mature soils, or areas of soil that have been present for a very long time, have 4 different horizons that we're going to talk about. The horizons that we're going to talk about are O, A, B, C, and C. Underneath that, there is another layer that we just call bedrock, which is larger pieces of rock. So horizon O, this is our top layer, and this is composed of organic layers of decaying plant and animal tissue. It's very thin, and it's usually very dark in color. So this is a really dominant layer when we talk about like the rainforest, because there's constantly, due to moisture and the amount of organisms that live there in the litter, the leaf litter, there's a constant strong horizon O of organic layer. Horizon A, this is the layer that we call topsoil, and this is just below the O horizon, and it's made up of minerals and decomposed organic matter. So now on top of having this organic matter, like in Horizon O, we now have these pieces of minerals that are added in, especially due to this weathering process. And this is also a very dark in color, and this is where plant roots grow, and this is where they can pick up their nutrients that they need. Horizon B. So we call this layer the subsoil, and it's located below the A horizon. And within the Horizon B, there's a lot of clay and mineral deposits, and there's less organic materials than layers A and O. It's a lot lighter in color as well. So you'll notice that as we go further down into the horizons, there's less organic matter, and there's more of the inorganic matter, such as the clays and the mineral deposits. Or Horizon C. We call this the regolith layer, and it's located just below the B horizon. So this layer is made up of slightly unbroken rock, and there's only a very little bit of organic matter that's found here. And there are no plant roots in this layer because of the lack of organic matter for the plants to actually use any of this area in order to have any nutrients. So once again, the further we go down into C, the less organic matter we find. And these pieces of rock may be a little bit larger than they were in mineral, or a lot larger than we saw in layers B and layers A. Go ahead and move on to your worksheets for today, talking about soil formation and the different layers.